So here we are at the factory, and we're in the sorting department. And you know, out of the thousands and thousands of pounds of tobacco that we get, we're very, very particular about the color we want for our cigars. We like to make sure and ensure that every single cigar looks the same way. So out of the thousands of pounds of tobacco that they're sorting of wrapper right here, there's one particular color that we really like for the El Habano. Marissa, what color is that? And you can see there's like 8 different colors. So what they're doing now is taking all this wrapper, same priming, but identifying all the different colors and picking one color, Marissa. Show them that beautiful color, and what color is that we're using for the El Habano.
All right, so out of all of this, only 10% of the wrapper is going to be used for El Habano.
Wow.
And it's this beautiful leaf, you know? It's a, you know, it's clean,
Nice,
it's
golden.
perfect, and it's shiny.
That's great.
So that's what we do. We
Right.
make sure that we get the best leaf to
So
be
10%
used
of all this to ensure the same color goes in the El Habano. And then what happens with the rest of the tobacco?
Well, they can be used for other brands, or we can sell it to someone else. Or we can keep it, you know.
Just
to,
age it.
And, yeah, to age it for new projects.
So out of all this work, 10% of this tobacco is used to ensure you enjoy the El Habano, and it's consistent from box to box, cigar to cigar. So I hope you enjoy it.
Enjoy.
All right, so here we have 3 different types of tobacco. We have the ligero, we have the viso, and the seco. The ligero is the richest tobacco, delivers the most flavor, very thick in viscosity. If I take my nose to it, sense of chocolate, caramel, coffee, espresso, roasted nuts, so rich, so delicious. Just tastes like a rich dessert. Just love it. Feels oily in my hands. Just, I want to eat this stuff. This is so great. Now, Hamlet, on the other hand, has got viso. Viso is going to be kind of medium body in viscosity, not as dense and rich in flavor, but great for blending. Still has a lot of flavor.
And lots of aroma.
Yeah, and then Amilcar finally has the seco, which is creamy, buttery, mild, smooth. What do you think? How's that smell, Hamlet?
That smells so sweet and nice.
Hazelnut,
And
coffee.
you know, that's one of the things that when you smell a tobacco that is well fermented, then you can do this that we're doing right now here.
And these tobaccos come from our farms in Esteli and Condega in Nicaragua. And this tobacco, the ligero, has been fermented for 4 years. That means it goes in a pilon. They rotate the pile top to bottom, bottom top, inside out, outside in.
Every
10 to 15 days when the temperature gets to 135 degrees, they do it over and over for 4 years. The viso, 2.5, 3 years. The seco, 1.5 to 2 years. That's how long it takes to get a cigar. And when you get a cigar, oh, love that taste. This is what makes you happy after 4 years of work. So what we're doing is we're checking how well the tobacco has been fermented. When the tobacco is fermented perfectly, you can actually take your cigar tip, nice hot tip, and just light the tobacco, and it should just burn nice, evenly, and keep burning. And this is a nice Seco leaf, and we're going to try that with the Seco. Then you're going to see Amilcar do that on the Viso, and the Viso will burn at a medium level, and the Ligero will be the slowest burning one because it's the thickest one, retaining a lot of oil, and it's a very rich, thick leaf. So as we know, the Seco is a very thin leaf. It should burn quicker. The Viso being a little more thicker in texture is going to burn medium, and the Ligero is more dense, very rich, holds a lot of oil, will burn nice and slow. So you want to make sure that the tobacco is burning nice and evenly so it's cured and fermented properly. See, it's nice and burning nice and evenly. Look how well it's burning, just nice. Nice burn, keeps going. It's not holding a lot of fertilizer. If it was, it wouldn't burn. The burn would be stopping. Great aroma to it. Excellent. All right, now we're going to show you what happens when you have a little thicker, coarser leaf in the Viso, and Amilcar is going to light up the Viso and show you the difference. You can already see the difference in texture. Look at this. This is thicker. Over here, Hamlet's got the Ligero, much darker, even more dense, more thick. You can feel the oils on it. Okay, now Amilcar, watch this, and this should burn more medium, not as fast, and that's really slow burning. See, nice and slow. This is not burning as fast as the Seco, which burned through really quickly. That just burned slow. And now the Ligero is going to be the slowest burn, the hardest one to keep going. See, the Seco, been so long, it's still burning because it's so thin and light. The Viso stopped burning after a while, and the Ligero will be the hardest one, be very, very slow burning. Seco burned through really fast, Viso a little more, the Ligero the least. The density of the leaf makes a difference. That's why when you have a mild cigar, you have a lot of these thin leaves, very easy to burn, great for golfers, keeps burning, you can put it down, stays lit. When you have a richer, fuller bodied cigar, you have a lot more Ligero, a lot more Viso. You have to keep that cigar lit, you have to keep puffing on it in order to stay lit. Sometimes you have to relight it. Nature of the course, based on the quality of the cigar, the flavor of the cigar. The more Ligero, you have to keep smoking it. If you leave it out, you gotta light it, just because you get a richer flavor and you're using thicker leaves.
One of the most important things to do with the tobacco leaf is to ferment them very well. So right now I have a bunch of Ligero leaves in my hand. So if you don't have a well fermented tobacco, and if you do this, and you smell this, you're gonna pass out because it's gonna be too bad. But with this particular leaf that have been fermented so well, you're gonna get a rich aroma, sweet smell, and you're gonna get everything. You can put your nose here anytime you want, and you can just smell it. And you get that beautiful aroma. It's clean, there's no ammoniac in here, so it's beautiful. You actually have to hesitate if you wanna eat it or you wanna use it to make cigars. And that's what happened to me most of the time. When I set up my table and I begin to roll cigars, before that, I always, I get a chance to smell every single of the leaf that I'm using. So the Ligero particularly, because it's the strongest one, is the heaviest one, and it's the one that have more oil and is thick, is the one that when you do this, and you get that beautiful aroma. It just tells you right away it's well fermented, it's ready to go, and you're gonna get a beautiful, beautiful flavor when you use it to blend the cigar.
So Nestor, here we are at this bodega in Honduras. You got bales and bales and bales of tobacco. Amazing stuff. How many bales do you have here?
20,000 bales of tobacco.
20,000 bales. And you know, I know you grow over 5 million pounds of tobacco a year, and I like to have the old tobacco for all our blends, like the Edge, the Decade, and everything. And we fight sometimes over it, but I make you hold the tobacco. And so this is tobacco simply for the factory. And what do we have? How many bales?
This is a tobacco. This is tobacco that's been here from the crop 2012, 2011, 2013. But the aging, what it does to tobacco is amazing.
It's
amazing. It gives the complexity,
like,
you know. What
I'm smoking a cigar right now. We're using the 2012 tobacco, and it's got so much caramel, coffee, honeydew, like sweetness. It's
amazing,
dulce. It's just
amazing,
sweet,
amazing
sweet,
what it does. But it also lost pounds, you know. So that's painful, but we're willing to give it to you.
Tell them why it's painful, because it costs
from 133 pounds turned into 126 pounds. So we're losing pounds.
From the aging process, yeah, but it tastes better.
But it tastes better. 100% agree. And we're willing to do it, man, for you.
And how many bales
whatever
do you
it
have
takes.
here?
20,000 bales.
20,000 bales. We're going to be good to go for a while. So awesome. Thank you, buddy.
My pleasure, brother.
So here we are at Tabacusa, our factory in Esteli, Nicaragua. We call our boutique factory. And it's very, very special because we do things very differently than we manufacture cigars in Honduras. What I like about what we're doing here is, if you'll notice, we use 2 binders. So it gives us a chance to get additional flavors, more complexity, more flavor in the cigar. It also holds the tobacco much more firm. So everything is done by hand here. We don't use any machinery. Even the bunching machines like the Liebermans, none of that, completely hand bunched. They're known for making one particular size, one particular blend. That's all they work on all day long. This way the consistency of the tobacco is felt in the hand and the cigars are always going to be consistent. So what we see now is he's going to take 2 binders. He takes the 2 binders, he takes each leaf. All the leaves are bunched in a tubular fashion, not an accordion fashion like we do in Honduras. They really create a tube on each leaf. One is put firmly in the hand, one on top of the other. You can see these are full leaves right here. Very, very sweet in flavor. Nice leaves. Some are bigger, some are smaller. We've got some secos, some visos from Esteli, from Condega, Lapa. And then he's nicely bunching the cigar, makes a nice tubular fashion, nice bunch, and then it goes into the mold. Once it goes in the mold, once the mold is filled, then it goes into a press. Every 15 minutes they give it a quarter turn. I'm standing right here next to one of the presses. And once they're nice and firm, before the wrapper's put on, which is what she will do, then the cigars go to the draw testing machines. We've got 4 of them around the factory. They'll take every single bunch, test it, make sure the draw is perfect. It's not too firm, it's not too loose. And then they'll go over to the other roller, who's then going to put on the wrapper on it. And then I'll explain how the wrapping process is done next and show you how we do everything. It's quite unique and different and attention to detail. So now we're at our draw testing machines. We have several of those placed across the factory here in Esteli. The most important station to make sure you get a perfect draw on the cigar. As you see, these are freshly arrived molds. They've come from the bancheros. They come to the station and he takes every single cigar and it's tested. Depending on the type of size, depending on the type of blend, the machine is calibrated each time to make sure we want the perfect draw. Sometimes you want a medium to firm draw. Sometimes you want a medium draw. Whatever we're desiring in that particular cigar. So if it's a box press cigar, we want a looser draw because once it presses, the draw is going to get a little firmer and be perfect. If it's a round cigar, then we want a nice medium draw so the cigar draws beautifully without too much effort and it can't be too loose. So this machine gets calibrated every time these bunches come over and they actually test to make sure, and there's a gauge, and it has to fall within that very narrow range. If the cigar doesn't fall within that range that we desire, they actually reject the cigar. They'll take the cigar apart. As you can see, these are the fillers and binders from the cigar. They'll check to see what buncher it came from, what they did wrong. They'll take it back to the buncher and show them the problem so it doesn't happen again. One of the most important stations in the entire factory to guarantee consistency, because you can cure the tobacco, you can ferment it perfectly, you can do whatever you want, but if it's not bunched properly and you don't get a great experience enjoying the cigar, you're not going to like it. So, critical part of making a great quality cigar. So our torcedores in Esteli at our little boutique factory, I think are some of the finest rollers in the world. In fact, you look at this, the cigars are perfectly capped. When you have such a fine piece of work, such a fine piece of art, the wrappers are gorgeous, nice and oily, you want to make sure they're finished perfectly. Something that we do here different is all the cigars are triple cap. What is triple cap? Well, they actually take like a cut in the actual wrapper, make like a leaf version. You can see her doing it now. Slowly wrap the leaf around the cap, around the open end, cap it up. And then once it's capped twice here, they actually take and make a nice little round cap around it and place it gently. This allows the cigar when it's cut to have a nice cigar. Is not going to unravel. It's just going to have a nice feel in your mouth, and they aesthetically look absolutely perfectly finished and beautiful. You can't even see where the cap starts. It takes a lot of time and love to do this right. Hi everybody. So here we are in the quality control room at the factory. You know, the most important process in making a great quality cigar is of course the construction. If you don't have great construction, you don't have a great cigar. So all along the way we've rolled the cigars. Cigars have been going through draw testing. They've actually taken the cigars, weighed all 50 cigars to make sure they fall within 2 to 3 grams of each other. So most of the construction has been done on the front of the floor. But now we're in the quality control room. A very, very important step here, because what we're doing here is every single cigar is going to be checked by hand. And Marissa, tell everybody what goes on in the quality control room here with these cigars.
Well, so what happened here is after production, we bring the cigars to this room. So we want to make sure that every single cigar is perfect. So we check the construction, we check the the quality of the wrapper. We also check that the heaviest material is in the center, so you can burn.
So the
well.
ligeros and the heavy tobaccos
Yeah.
are in the center of the cigar.
Yes.
So when it burns, it's burning perfectly. It's not burning sideways, because if the ligeros on the sides, it's going to burn unevenly.
Yes. Also, we check that we don't have any, soft spots like empty. So the cigar has to be packed of tobacco. So that's what we make sure.
And then what about the caps too?
Oh, the cap has to be perfect.
So you're basically taking each cigar and picking it up, and whether it's a pigtail like that one that you have there,
Yeah, we also
or cap,
check.
you want to make sure you don't see the cap. That's just perfectly round, it's placed perfectly, and like she said,
We
you're
also check
checking-
the ring gauge.
and the ring gauge.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So basically what we do is we want to make sure that the ring gauge is correct. So we're going to put this in here, so you see 52, 51, and 55.
Yeah, because sometimes if one roller packs too much tobacco in it, then even though it's a 50 ring gauge or 52 ring gauge, it's going to be smaller or bigger, and we don't want that.
Yeah, so you got to be perfect. So you got to go through here, easy. Okay, so that's what we do.
There it is. So once you're done with the quality control room, then it goes in the aging room, where we're going to take you next. And they're simply looking for the aesthetic beauty of the wrapper, that they're consistent, there's no veins showing, there's no pinta spots, dark spots, and it's clean. See you there. So Marissa, this is my favorite room. I just love the aroma in this room, the smell, cedar, cigars, the aging room. It is just, wow, good sleep in here. I love
This
it.
is like the marriage, where all the components of the blend, get together,
Yeah.
like marinade. So it's beautiful. It smells amazing.
It's just awesome. And so we have many of these rooms. This is one of the aging rooms. They go in these nice cedar boxes. All the cigars are aged. We don't wrap them in bundles because of the weight. Kind of keep them so that enough air gets between them. They breathe nicely. And they're in here for what? 6 months, sometimes up to a year for some of like the ALR and things like that. So
Yes.
it's awesome. And digitally control the temperature and humidity. We'd like to keep the temperature at about 60 degrees Fahrenheit and the humidity at about 74. It's the perfect time for the cigars to rest. And like you said, it's a marriage. They just- So now we're in the packaging department, And being a natural product, the cigars come in so many different gradations of color. Even though we've sorted the wrapper out and been picky about 10% of the wrapper that we want as a specific color, when it's wet and the cigar dries, you can't really see the color till the cigar loses the humidity and it's dry. And you see there's all these gradations of colors. So on this sorting table, what they're doing now is they're actually making sure that the colors match, and there's one particular color that we want, and that's the only color that they're gonna pick. Everything else will be rejected as a factory select. So there's first that are perfect in color, fit the color scheme we want. The other ones are rejected as factory selects, and then we also have factory seconds. Tell them what the seconds are and why they're rejected.
Well, the factory selects are the ones that don't fit in our quality standards in colors. Okay, so they become factory selects. Then the seconds are the ones that had, you know, white spots or
Bumps,
maybe bumps,
veins.
yeah, veins, or you know, the cap is not perfect, so they become seconds.
Because, you know, even though it went through the construction chest and even though you checked everything, once the cigar really dries and loses all its humidity,
Yes.
you really get the shape and it really shows the true skin or the color of the wrapper. So again, a lot of work, 300 different hands touching the tobacco, and you really have to have a great eye. You can see it's specially lit here so they can actually really look at the colors, and they're trained. I mean, they're so good at identifying the colors, checking the cigars, making sure factory selects colors are two colored or the colors don't fit the scheme, and the seconds are ones that have the veins showing or two-toned or something like that. So tedious job, another tedious job. Awesome.
How beautiful.
They do, gorgeous. So everybody always wonders how you box press a cigar. It's one of the most often questions I'm asked at the cigar store. How do you box press a cigar and why do you box press a cigar? Well, when you take a round cigar and you box press it, basically it takes all the air out through the tobacco. And with less air, the cigar draws beautifully and you get a richer concentrated flavor. And that's why I love box press cigar. Plus it feels great in the mouth. And Marissa, you know, we have these new presses now that are amazing. What we do is we actually take the cigars, put them in this tray, and if I can show you one of these trays right here. There you go, Mari. So the cigars go in round. They go in round, and we have these cedar dividers. And the cedar dividers make sure that they're box pressed evenly, because if the cigars were touching each other, you get weird shapes to the box press. This way they're box pressed perfectly. You'll see they look like nice pieces of chocolate. They come out just really looking like candy bars. So they go into the press like this, and then turn it all the way, pressed hard, and it stays here for about 10 days under these presses. Once they're pressed, they're turned again, go back in the presses. It's a long process. And then after that, they go into these master cartons that you see back here. And the master cartons basically have a steel clamp, they're sealed, and they go into the aging room that way for 6 months till they're ready to be pulled out and packed. So it's truly an art, box pressing a cigar. They taste great. And what do you think? You love box pressed cigars. You always smoke box pressed cigars.